And there we are, we're live. Tonight is spiritual panel. So tonight we are talking about, we're doing a 12-week series where each week we're talking about a different zodiac sign. And we start at the beginning of the zodiac, which is Aries. Last week we did Taurus, and this week we're doing Gemini. So this is an open spiritual panel. So if you are familiar with with astrology and the zodiac, please feel free to request to come up. I do want to keep it on topic. I know sometimes we get really derailed, but let's try to keep it on topic. It is a spiritual safe place, so it's okay to have chats and share your thoughts and views, but please don't force your beliefs on others or bully each other in the conversation. We will try to warn you if we do see any bullying going on. So we'll give it just a minute and see who else joins tonight. I hope everybody's having a last, we're literally like, 60, so barely over 2 weeks left of summer, and then we head into autumn. I'm already seeing the beautiful signs of autumn here. It is getting pretty chilly. Last night it was 40 degrees at night, so it is starting to get chilly here at night. But it is still nice and warm in the day. So, and it is elk mating season. So those of you in Wyoming, please beware. We've got elk mating season. So the elks they're on the hunt for their loves. So just go the other direction. Don't find yourself on the YouTube channel Stupid People of Yellowstone, because it's even people not quite in Yellowstone. And yeah, Yellowstone's in Idaho, Wyoming, and Montana, so in 3 beautiful states. So all right, did I get that sent? Yay, welcome, Bren.
Oh boy, we're talking about the sign that is a playboy.
Yes. yes, we are.
And for
Hey,
and for the record, when I say playboy, no, it's not meaning with the idea of being suggestive or vulgar, because it's a different kind of definition, but we'll get into that in a moment.
yes. So always super fun. How's the weather where you're at?
Well, it was nice and dry, then out of nowhere, oh, here comes some heavy rain, and it won't stop. Beautiful.
Yeah, I saw that we're supposed to have rain. So it was supposed to hit today and it hasn't hit. The sky is pretty clear, which scares me because that means flash flooding if it comes. But
Oh, hopefully not.
yeah. Well, we're by a river, but I'm up high enough because the river, like literally I've got the river like in my front yard and my backyard because it swerves around, which is really awesome. But which is why I'll be like, honey, there's another deer in the parking lot. So
Wait.
exactly. Yeah, and now I need to be careful on my walks because it's elk mating season, so I've got to be really, really careful now. Because they are on the hunt for their loves. They're playboying it up today.
It's funny you mention that because there's actually a connection to Gemini. Speaking of that.
Right? Yes. I was thinking that as I was saying it. I'm like, that's completely a Gemini connection. So, and actually, usually, like when they do start giving birth to their young ones, it's about between Aries and Gemini season. So, all right, well, we'll jump in. I thought I'd give it a minute, and it's been a little more than a minute, but yeah, we'll jump in. I'm going to just do a brief overview, and then, we'll let Bren just kind of jump in and, so here we go. Okay, so Gemini, like I kind of started out, we've been doing this 12-week series, and the zodiac, the astrology starts on Aries. So we did Aries and Taurus, and now we're doing Gemini, so we're doing the third one. So that means we have 9 more weeks left after this Thursday. So Gemini is roughly May 21st to June 20th, and it is the twins. It is the first air sign in astrology in the zodiac sign, or in the zodiac, whichever. I'm going to use it universally. I'll probably say, I'm going to say both throughout. That's just, I know I will. So, so the symbol is twins, the element is air, and their ruling planet is Mercury. So their traits, some of their traits are, they do like to seek knowledge. They can adjust to new situations and environments very easily. They're good at communicating. They have strong storytelling and conversational skills. And most Gemini are outgoing. Even if they say they're introverts, they still seem very outgoing, very friendly, and they usually are very engaging in lively conversations. So sometimes they might struggle to focus. They do have a hard time with long-term commitments. And here's the fun part, and most people pick up on this, is there's a duality nature because they are the twins. So sometimes they may seem contradictory or two-faced, but they view things from different angles. And I will tell you, I know a lot of Geminis. As a matter of fact, like my grandmother was like my best friend while she was alive, and she's a Gemini. But I also know some Geminis that I'm just like, oh. So it does, like their moon and their ascension and their houses do sometimes play a role, but there are a lot of very interesting quirks and characteristics with Geminis. Some of them, like, I can say one thing is they seem to know, like, especially if it's like a specific topic, they seem to know everything about that topic. So it is pretty interesting when they see it. They usually get along with Libras and Aquarius, the other two air signs. They do typically get along with the fire signs too. So when we're looking, the air and the fire signs, they do get along with really well. So the signs that they tend to have challenges with are the earth and the water signs. And I will tell you, I have definitely seen that, especially when it's Scorpio. I'm sorry, I just have to laugh because Scorpios have their own personality. Granted, I get along with Scorpios, but it is really funny to see Scorpios and Geminis together. At least, like, that's kind of one of my things. And I've also seen, like, I have friends who are Tauruses and friends who are Geminis, and I'll tell you what, when they disagree, it's like just, like when a fire sign gets upset, it's like, you better run. But when a Gemini and a Taurus are getting into it, like, just seriously, you need to more than run, like dig a hole and start tunneling through the ground. I don't know, Bren, if you've seen that too, but I've seen interesting fights break out between Geminis and Tauruses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, that's my high overview, and then we'll just kind of get into discussion questions after Bren goes into his overview. So Bren, I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
Alrighty, so Gemini. Now, Gemini, firstly, it is, of course, ruled by Mercury. No planet gets exalted in there. No planet gets pissed off in there or debilitated. No planet considers it its Motricona, where it's its office. And no other planet has, like, any, like, what's what I'm looking for? Like, no planet feels like its highest dignity and then its lowest dignity, because it's like right in the middle. So now when we take a look to see, like, okay, so what planets consider Mercury's sign of Gemini friendly? Well, Sun, yes. Venus, Saturn. Those are the three planets that see Gemini like, okay, I can handle this, and also Uranus. Where you have animosity start to come in. Well, not so technically the moon too, but then again, the moon's happy wherever she goes, sign-wise. But now, planets that get a bit annoyed and agitated in Gemini. First one, without a doubt, Mars. Because you're taking Mars, the soldier, now you're telling him to speak. Why the heck do I want to speak? Why am I talking? I wanted to go out there, go boom, boom, the room. I want to bang stuff. I want to break stuff. I want to be tough. Why am I talking?
My mouth is moving. I'm doing a lot of mouth exercise, yeah, but I want my fist to do it. So that's where that comes in. Jupiter, well, you're taking a wise man, and now you're having him sit at Breakfast Club, hearing all the gossip, and he's just like, is this what you ladies do all day? Yeah, we talk shit about people that don't matter. Besides, why aren't you wearing pink? It's Wednesday. Just bless you, child. What the heck are you talking about, dude? See? Maybe we should not have even invited him. He's a little weird. I heard what you said, child. Like you did. But that's that energy. You're taking a wise man, you're putting him in the environment of BS tree. He's going to be like, oh, all right, fine then. But Gemini is, now this is where he's probably going to throw off and bamboozle. Gemini is a neutered sign. Because you have both genders weaving into it. You have a male figure and a woman figure touching fingertip to fingertip. That's where the neutery comes in. And that's why it's both. So that's also where you have the energy of Mercury being able to go from one to another, then back again. And that's the adaptability. And when we talk about Gemini, Gemini is the best to describe it. Think of a barren wasteland, and it's having some gusts of wind. That's Gemini. Dry, a bit bland, and sometimes it's that environment where it's just like breezes, and you're just like tumbleweed. Okay, it's like that kind of energy in terms of landscape. But if we're going to like specific parts of the body, well, Gemini naturally having rulership of the third house, it has dominion over your phalanges, which is your fingers, your hand, your wrist, your arm, your humerus, your upper arm, your shoulders, and your lungs. Not your voice box. That's still Taurus. And what are things that Gemini has dominion over? Well, Gemini has dominion over skill set, talent, efforts, and the ability to hone one's skills and enhance them. Gemini is also the sign that has dominion over filibustering, like a filibuster. That is Gemini, because it keeps going and going and going and going. And then they're just like, you know what? We're done with this. We're done with this bill. Next, this guy won't stop filibustering. But that's Gemini. Gemini is, you can even also say, is journalism, communication, mass communication, and communicating within a short distance travel. So now when we have a more deeper look into Gemini, we see the behaviors of Gemini, and this is taking it from Vedic, and this is going with the nakshatra concept, where you have all signs having 3 nakshatras or constellations within them, and each one shows a different way that the sign emotes itself. So for Gemini, the 3 are in order: Mrigashira, Arada, and Purnavasu. So Mrigashira, ruled by Soma, Chandra, the little nasty. This version of Mrigashira, unlike how it was in Taurus, this one is the one that actually pursues the beautiful things, the things that catch its eye. So this part with Gemini, placements here are drawn to things that catch their eye, and they will pursue. So this is also where you get kind of like that playboy kind of a vibe, like, oh, who's that? Hi, nice to meet you. Why do you want to talk to me? Hey, I'm trying to talk to you. That's that pursuit. And this does kind of also have the risk of people having tendencies to stalk at times. But nonetheless, that's when the next one comes in. Next one is, and also Mrigashira is symbolized by, believe it or not, the deer's head. Yep, the deer's head. Then when we take a look over at Arada, now Arada is symbolized by the mournful tear, the skull, or a diamond. And Arada is similar to, think of it like if you're having a tornado and an extreme storm come in and just decimate everything, make everything flat. That's that barren part of Gemini. But Arada, as energy, is known as the howler. And, well, in the heart of Gemini, where it's at, placements there, if they're not being listened to, especially if they have Mars Oh boy, you don't listen to them, they will go, "Why aren't you not listening?" They will yell, and you will hear them. And at the same time, whenever placements in the heart of Gemini try to do the right thing and they do the right thing and what's just, they will always somehow, some way get pushed away and blamed for some negative circumstance that came about for their choice. But they tend to also be really proficient in healing, but they have to be very aware that their aggression, their yelling, can cause immense disruption. So it can be used for good, especially if it's for defending people that cannot defend themselves. But at the same time, it's also pretty good to have if you need somebody to be a table flipper, metaphorically speaking. Then lastly, Purnavasu, which is the return of the light, which is the quiver of arrows and a bow. This is showing the part of Gemini that goes out and tries to learn from a place that is not home. So they go out on a short distance journey for some time, they learn, hone their skills, and then they go into the side of Cancer where they come back and claim the home. But Gemini has those energies of either being one, a pursuer, one that chases after, wanting to speak and communicate, to get to know, kind of be of a nuisance. The next one is the one that table flips and screeches like a banshee and makes you go, oh no, oh no, oh no, not the face. And then there's the last kind that goes out on the adventure, just learning and trying to gain as much as they can before they come back. And Gemini, when working alongside that energy of Gemini, the main thing to keep in mind is that Gemini, you can put in any situation and it can adapt. Gemini is also very excelled in doing mimicry. It can mimic very well. And it's also really excelled in doing things that are like outplaying, maneuvering, and bamboozling. Like leading one way, then whoop! Because it's one of the first signs, and it's young. It's immature air, and it's mutable air. So it's air that you can just go, well, you can't really grab air and twist it into a different way, but it's communication that you can go and just go underneath somebody's feet.
Yep. Was that it, Bren?
That's all I got in my head.
You just like, "Whew, and I'm done. Bow. You forgot to bow." No, I'm kidding. So, yes, so we are chatting about the zodiac sign Gemini, and they're just a very interesting sign, and our air signs are very interesting. They tend to be very intelligent and attracted to intellectual. They're the fun ones to have conversations with. Wouldn't you agree, Bren?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they get very, I mean, because I can get animated at times, but I mean, most Geminis get very animated. So it's very entertaining. I wonder how many people like in Hollywood are Geminis.
My south node is Gemini.
I know I have something in Gemini and I cannot remember. It's something a little, I'm like, "Oh, okay. One day I'll have them all memorized."
Yeah. And just to give an idea, when you have the south node in Gemini, you're taking the headless planet K2, the planet that goes like, meh with it. I've already done this. Why am I doing it again? I want to go. You should focus where my head's at over there in Sagittarius. Fine, whatever. I'll be in here doing filibustering. And the thing is, the South Node is like you're inheriting those qualities of that sign. You're bringing it into this life as kind of like an excelled skill. So for me, whenever I have to do anything that's Gemini related, for an example, mimicry, acting, animated, reciting plays, writing, communicating, being whimsical, it just happens. Like Jim Carrey. That's the best way I can describe a South Node in Gemini. Because it's just like, oh, 1 minute he's this way, but then he's like this. Then he's like this. Yeah, that's Gemini right there.
I wonder if Jim Carrey is a Gemini.
Might have a lot of dominant Gemini placements then. Probably.
Yeah, he probably does. Yeah, it would actually be kind of fun for people to submit people and for us to look up their their charts and kind of give our feedback on charts. Maybe that's something we can do in the future. So something to think about. I guess I'll like just add a little bit here. So in relationships, so actually what's really funny is, sometimes when we learn, like I know Azrael was talking about how he ended up getting like a very complex sign on book on astrology and was like, oh my gosh, and that can happen. So my first astrology book that I ever checked out from the library was Linda Goodman's Love Signs. So it was very interesting. And yes, everybody was always asking. I kept checking it out too. I'd return it and then recheck it out. So like I did that I was like, I should have just bought it. So
Yeah, in my case, I had a mentor teach me. So anything that he taught me, well, the only exceptions that of like writings that I did read were all the traditional Vedic texts and also Pashra Hora Shastra, Jamini Shastra, Nandi Nadi Shastra. Good Lord. But I mean, those are like classical texts. But like modern day books of astrology, I haven't read any.
See, well, and I didn't do the Vedic. I did the Western. So, I mean, I do have teachers, but I really read more first before I had teachers. So, and everybody does things differently. Plus, like, well, I was interested in it when I was in junior high and high school, and it wasn't something that you could be open about. So, not where I grew up anyway. If you're in highly religious areas, we can say there's some things you just can't be open about. But so Gemini's in love. So they are extremely flirtatious. And they want that mental connection. Like that's really important to them. So their relationships are usually very exciting, but they are filled with conversation, and it's intellectual conversation, and they need a partner who can be a mental stimulation. If not, they get bored very easily. So you have to be ready, prepared for that. Go ahead, Bren.
And for the energy of Gemini, well, if you look at the symbolism, it's, well, again, depending on which way you're looking at it, the twins or the man figure and the woman figure coming together, touching fingertip to fingertip. That is symbolic of having mutual, mutable understanding. It's the understanding that is understood because each figure is an understanding. When it comes to fingertip, they're bridging that understanding to one another. That's Gemini. They're allowing that opportunity to connect take place. That's Gemini. Because if you don't have the communication that's like everyday communication, well, how do you think a marriage is going to work? Do you want this? No. Okay. An Aquarius. So how are we going to make this complex problem make any sense to anybody? No, I don't know. It just works. But we have to explain this to everybody so they can all understand it. It works. But we have to explain it intelligently. It works. So that's like taking something that's an advanced level and explaining it down to a level that can be understood.
Yeah. Yes. And any air sign, it's not just Gemini. They're usually the most intelligent people that you're going to run into, and they're going to know facts that you're like, are you sure? And then you'll be like, oh my gosh, how do they know all this? So I see there's another thing. How many people have won Jeopardy that are air signs? So when we're looking at Geminis as a friend, they're social and friendly. Again, even if they're an introvert, they're the ones that they're like introverts, and you're like, you're an introvert? Like, because some people you can kind of tell, like, oh, okay, they're an introvert. But like Geminis, yeah, you'd be like, wait, what? But yes, there are some Geminis that are introverts, but they have a very wide variety of friends. Like sometimes you'll run into people who tend to maybe all like, I mean, I do like have a friend who is a Taurus, and most of her friends are earth signs. She has like the few like me that's a fire sign, but like with Geminis, they're going to be friendly with everyone. So, but they are very entertaining. They are very fun to be around. However, they do like sometimes have a short attention span, especially if like you're doing like, how's the weather? Like they're gonna get lost. You're gonna see their eyes like glaze over because that's not interesting to them.
And Gemini, also, funny enough, is also a very naive sign. It's a gullible sign because it's immature air. Oh, what you doing over there? What's it to you, kid? Oh, I'm just curious. What you doing? Oh, you're making salt? Oh, wow, that's interesting. Why are you putting that in that? I don't know if that's made of. I don't know if salt's made of that. Will you go away, you stupid obnoxious thing? Isn't that chemical? Why are you putting that in there? Go away.
Yes. No, they're the ones that like if you're a smart butt, I don't know if we can say the ASS word, but if you're a smart butt and you're like being sarcastic, it is going to go over their head. Like there okay, Brent, in Guardians of the Galaxy, the one character when he goes, I would catch it, it wouldn't go over my head. Like that's what I think of when I think of Geminis and the gullibility. Yeah. So yes, so yeah, they're not going to get a lot of jokes and stuff, so they have to be very like, yeah, you'll see that, but yeah, and one thing, they are always late. So if you're doing something, like they're the ones that you want to make sure that you tell them to be there 30 minutes before, because I've never known a Gemini who's on time ever.
Give them the time 30 minutes later than when they need to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. So if your party's at 3, you tell them it's at 2:30 and they'll still show up at like 3:15. But yeah, Geminis tend to be late, but they're good. They are good friends though. And you will learn a lot from them because they will regurgitate a lot of intellectual stuff. So yeah, you open up something like, I was reading a biology book, then they're just gonna, especially if that's like their craft, like that's where their knowledge base is. So, all right. So let's talk about Geminis in the workplace for a minute. So they do excel in like a variety of different careers. Some of them are extremely creative. They all do well in communication. So you'll see Geminis in like journaling, journalism, marketing. A lot of teachers tend to be Geminis. They're very good at multitasking. So that makes them like really valuable in the workplace. So they're the ones that like employers love because they can multitask. And if they're in a job, like they could never do a factory job where like if they have to like sit and put lids on bottles, that would not happen. They are not into repetitive tasks. That's too mundane for them and it would not keep their attention. They need something that is not going to be consistent. They need structure, but not consistent structure. So, and they need something where they're going to learn and constantly grow. Brent, anything else about the workplace?
In terms of profession, well, for Gemini, of course, journalist. But another one, auctioneer. Can I have another day? Can I have another day? Yep, that is Gemini. Yeah. Auctioneer, you better believe it. Because in order to be an auctioneer, you better be making sure your communication, your mouth is moving like 1,000 miles per hour. Can I have 5 over here? Can I have a second? Oh, we got 7 over here. Can I have 9 over here? Yep, that's Gemini. And I mean, you have to admit, I'm even thinking like, and I talk fast, and I'm over here like, how the heck can you make your tongue move that fast? That figures. But another thing too is that any profession that requires like a skill to be developed, for example, a typist, that's one. Even computer, like a keyboard programmer, like that too. And also skill sets, for example, writing, anything, even like beading, that's also Gemini, because you're trying to use your hands to create something. But in order to do that, you need to have a skill set of like making it as well. And now another one was that was kind of more like for Virgo, but you could even also say somewhat like a notary, you can kind of say, but that was more Virgo. And I'm still having this fresh in my head. because I know I'm going to forget if I don't say it now. But Gemini, if you're looking for a specific stone for Gemini, number one, without a doubt, Amazonite. Amazonite is probably the best stone for Gemini because of that kind of that limey green, aquatic green coloration. Yeah, that is Gemini. And Amazonite, despite it being a very feisty, sassy, not having it stone, it does encourage that communication and opens it up. And willing to go on the prowl. Yep, Playboy, there it is. It connects.
Yeah, I would agree. Amazonian. I have like, well, I don't have them in my shop right now, but on my website and my Etsy store, I usually have like zodiac kits with crystals, and that is one of the first ones. Like, I won't, if I can't get a hold of them, I'm like, can't do a Gemini kit because you have to have it in there.
For Gemini, also, they could be in there. Um, Probably, if we're going by the Vedic text, emerald is the number one preferred stone, number one. Another one would be peridite. And another substitute for that would be green aventurine. You can even also probably get away with, well, green phantom quartz can be another one. That's chloride and quartz. You can also go with, what the heck are you? I'm looking right at you. What the heck is your name? Moss agate. There you go. Yeesh. You can also get away, well, you can also use, oh crap, what's that called? It's the green version of kunzite. Hiddenite. That was it. Hiddenite. You can also use
Tree
crap.
agate would work well
There.
too.
Yep, there it is. Took it right out of my head.
We work well when we think together.
Yep. Jade's another one. That's preferably the green jade, of course, obviously, but you can also, yeah. I just had another one. The heck? It's all these, wait. Um, what the heck? Just had it. If it'll come back, I'm going meh with it. Blue topaz. There it is.
And speaking like as we do that, like I didn't even bring up like herbs. So lavender works well for Gemini associated, peppermint, dill, parsley, and skullcap. Also rosemary, basil, thyme, and lemon balm. Lemon balm and peppermint, both part of the mint family. So, but those are good herbs that are associated with Gemini also.
Yep. Think of like Gemini herbs or like the herbs that when you intake them, they kind of give a bit of a ooh. Like,
Yes.
woo.
Yes. Yes.
Like wintergreen's another one.
Yes.
Like
Any of the mints, really. Any of the
yeah,
mints.
any of the mints and also wintergreen. It's just like when you take the first the first whiff or the first scent of it, it's kind of like a oh hello, hello.
Yeah.
It gives you that jolt, and that's Mercury coming out of nowhere. Like, hey, what you doing? What the heck?
Most definitely. Yes. All right. So, I mean, that's all. I mean, I didn't really like last time we had like questions and stuff, and it's been quiet this week on our lives. So, I don't know if you have any questions or any other comments you want to bring up for Geminis.
Really can't think of really much of any more, but
Yeah, I mean, I think we've done like, I mean, the high, like, unless like I wanted to go in more detail, I'd have to pull up all my astrology notes. But yeah, I think we covered like all of the high overview for Gemini.
yep. I
Yeah.
really can't think of really much of anything else.
I can't either. So if you're joining late, we're doing a 12-week series on the astrological signs, starting with Aries, and today was Gemini. So next week will actually be Cancer. I think I've said that like 100 times, thinking it was this week, but no, it is next week. Is Cancer. So we'll talk about the Cancer sign in astrology or the zodiac, whichever way you want to refer to it. This is our last, so Sunday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, is our last chapter in the Spiral Dance by Starhawk. And then that means the following Sunday, we're doing Bren's book on the goddess Nyx, and the book is called Nyx, and I forgot to grab it again. So I don't know if you have your cover handy that you want to
Nope,
show.
I don't have it either, but it's called Nyx, the primordial goddess with the cosmos sewn in her veil.
Yes, so you need to go to Bren's, if you make sure you're following him, go to his bio on his TikTok bio, click his link tree, and it will take you right to his books. You should still have time to order it. If you order it now, I would not order it past Sunday. I think then you're going to be cutting it a little close to have it. But yes, please make sure you order it. That's only for 2 weeks. Then we're going to do the Great Divorce with C.S. Lewis, followed by on Jezebel. What a great!
Yes.
I mean, like seriously, like what a cool.
It's just like the Great Divorce, and then Jezebel, like, oh, what a shame. Move, peasant.
I know, it's going to be fun. So yes, very, very exciting. So I'm very excited about Witchy Book Club. And then of course, Tuesday Tarot next week, we are doing the Wheel of Fortune. So we're doing our card number 10, Wheel of Fortune, in our 78-week series on the Zodiac. What do you want to add, Bren?
Other than that, the only thing that I could think of is like, well, the wheel of fate is turning, so hopefully it's turning and you're going up and not going face plant.
Yep. Yeah, and what's cool about that card is sometimes it'll say Wheel of Fortune, sometimes it will say Fate, Wheel of Fate, or like I have one deck where it's just the Will, So we're going to have fun with that
The
one.
wheel of the year also.
Yes, that's right. Yes, there are a few that say the Will of the Year. I think actually I either have a Celtic deck or the Druid deck that I'm showing says Will of the Year.
Yeah, it's the witch's turret. That doesn't.
Oh, that's right. The witch. Oh, you know what? I keep forgetting to show that. I haven't shown that for a couple weeks. Darn it. I was trying to keep the same decks. I'll try to remember for Tuesday. So yes, we're very excited. So Sundays are Witchy Book Club, Tuesdays are Tuesday Tarot, and Thursdays are Spiritual Panel. So we're always here 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and Thursdays and Sundays are open panel. Tuesday is not. So I know sometimes people get upset about that, but yes, because we do one card readings, we want to make sure that we have like this really beautiful flow going. So, and if you miss our lives, you are welcome to go to my bio in TikTok. And you can either subscribe to my YouTube channel or my Patreon because they do drop. I think they're about a week behind, so you have to wait another week before you'll get like this week's. But you can listen and you can get caught up on astrology for Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. So, all right, Bren, anything else to add? And do you want to say goodbye tonight?
Toodaloo, au revoir, arrivederci, ciao.
Yes. And thank you so much, everybody, for the likes, and thank you for the gifts. We really appreciate it. Always appreciated, never expected. And again, I really appreciate all the likes. So thank you so much for joining us tonight, and feel free to catch the replay on YouTube or Patreon. And as always, merry meet, merry part, bright blessings, and namaste.